Well, hello everyone, and welcome to our presentation today. I'm Bruce Lieberg, Director of Sales here at Exotic Journeys. I want to thank you very much for joining us in our series of webinars focusing on exotic, the great destinations we offer and the great partners we get to work with, and of course, celebrating our 45th anniversary of Exotic Journeys. So we're coming down the home stretch here. We only have a couple presentations left, so we are in for a treat today. Really looking forward to this presentation on Vietnam. So with that, I'm very happy to introduce, we have Holly, who's one of our product specialists here for Asia, as well as our special guest for Vietnam today. So Holly, I'll turn it over to you.
Also, we just before we get to Paul, we do have Christine Garapi, who's our head of the exotic department, who's on here as well. So yeah, I'm going to pass it over to Paul, who's going to give us the rundown. He is the president of ICS, and there he's going to take us to Vietnam. Paul?
Thank you so much. Thanks everybody for joining us. It's a pleasure to introduce Vietnam, one of my favorite countries in Asia, and spend a lot of time there. Seen a lot of changes over the last 20, 25 years. The country is very resilient. The people are amazing, very friendly, very nice. And with so many still untouched areas of tourism, Vietnam is still a stunning, exciting destination waiting to be explored. It has a very turbulent history, but we don't want to focus on those too much. The Vietnamese neither. They want to move forward. They want to see the future. There's a couple of items that you can still visit that have something to do with the war. And there's a lot of items you can visit that have something to do with the ancient tradition of Vietnam. Vietnam is a very old country. Hanoi, for example, just celebrated 1,000 years since it was inaugurated. So basically, the country is old. Basically, the country has a very young population and has a lots of history. A couple general things about the country: 92 million people. Majority of them is less than 20 years old. Regular electricity, Vietnamese language. Transportation, very good actually, between taxis, brand new cars, bicycles, rickshaws, motorcycle taxis, everything you can find. The capital of the reunited Vietnam since 1975 is Hanoi. Currency is dong. To the US dollar, currently about 21,000 dong to the dollar, but that changes a little bit. It doesn't matter where you change, you get basically the same exchange rate anywhere, if it's the airport, if it's the hotel, or if it's any kind of an ATM. ATMs are good and everywhere, so if you want cash, ATM is really always a good choice. There's a couple etiquettes in Vietnam which you can see. I don't want to have to go through all of them, but they are pretty much in line with what other etiquettes are in Southeast Asia. Weather-wise, that's something that a lot of people are asking, and I wanted to address that. Because it's a pretty long stretched country from north to south, it has a couple of different climatic zones. In the south, you have a classic Southeast Asian weather with dry between October and April, and then rain in summer. In the north, you have really 4 seasons in Hanoi, between spring, summer, winter. Winter is not too cold, maybe in the 8 degrees at night Celsius, and maybe 10, 11, 12 as a minimum during the day. For a short period of time, January, February are usually the coldest month. And in the center, you get a couple of rainy, stormy days between October and November. Bottom line, when you travel, it doesn't matter when you travel, you will get some rain, you will get sunshine, you will get warmth too. So really a year-round destination. Bring a raincoat. Festivals, not too many that are huge. There's one which is usually January, February. It's Tet, it's Vietnamese New Year, same thing as the Chinese New Year, same dates. Little piece of warning, some people think that Tet is sort of this massive celebration that we need to be part of. No, it's not. It's a family celebration. People are at home. People are sitting with their families and their relatives and eat at home. So it's not that much going on. A good time to travel because it's not very busy anywhere. But don't expect too much of craziness in terms of, for example, the water festivals in Thailand. So it's not like that. It's a very family-oriented festival. I love maps. Here's a map of Vietnam, pretty basic, but gives you all the information. Most people, and we get questions a lot, which part of Vietnam should I travel to? I think the best thing to do is travel the whole country. There is so much to see in different parts. When you go from north to south, you have Hanoi, the old capital, and the new capital. It's a great city, has some really beautiful architecture, nice old downtown area, excellent food, excellent restaurants, excellent hotels. I definitely recommend Hanoi. It's for me a must to see Hanoi. From there, it's a 2-hour drive to the UNESCO World Heritage Site of Halong Bay. In Halong Bay, you can spend a night or two on a boat, and you can see magnificent Halong Bay limestone hills in the Bay of Tonkin. Really, really nice. After that, when you've seen the north, there's a couple other places in the north, like Sapa. Your advisor with Exotic can definitely help you with that if you want to spend more time in the north, in the hills and the mountains of the north. Going to the center, the old port city of Hoi An is one of my favorite towns. It's beautiful. It's very, very charming. You can walk around Hoi An. You can see the old capital of Hue as well, and Da Nang. A couple nights I would definitely recommend. If you do 3-4 nights in the north, if you do 3-4 nights in the center, that would be sufficient. A little bit of Da Nang. Also, to remember, Da Nang has probably the nicest beach area in Vietnam. And the best time to see that beach or be on that beach is sort of spring, summer, between April and August. That's when the best weather is in the central part of Vietnam. Hoi An is great. If you are in Hoi An, you can mix between old capital and between the beach. So it's a really good combination. Going further to the south, the old capital of the southern part of Vietnam is Saigon, aka Ho Chi Minh City. It doesn't matter what you call it, it's the same thing. Great starting point for some of the Mekong cruises. That's a beautiful part of Vietnam because it's still sort of the breadbasket of the country, but also has some beautiful little villages, little canals, a bit like the Venice of Vietnam. So it's really, really nice. I would definitely recommend a couple nights there. So 3 nights north, 3 nights center, 3 nights south is sort of what I recommend. If you have more, great. Otherwise, this would be sufficient to see at least the highlights of each part of Vietnam. As I mentioned, a couple things to remember. Halong Bay cruises in the north are absolutely fantastic, beautiful. The boats do either 1 night or 2 night cruises, and that's sufficient. You don't need to do more. There's a couple other hillside areas in the north near and around Ninh Binh, which is in general either a day trip out of Hanoi or can be a 1-nighter, but you can do those beautiful limestone hills also during a day trip out of Hanoi. It's called Ninh Binh. It's a great place to see. Exploring the capital city of Hanoi, which used to be a very sleepy town. Now it's much, much more cosmopolitan. Still has a lot of old historic charm, and I really definitely recommend to just venture out and do it, walk around and see the different parts of Hanoi. And then, of course, Sapa, the rice terraces of Sapa. That's one of the highlights in the north. Again, if you have time, do it. It will require probably 3 more nights in the north. If you have time for that, definitely recommend it. Most people don't do it just because they don't have that much time and they like to combine Vietnam with maybe one of the neighboring countries. Ninh Binh, as I said, limestone hills, beautiful, beautiful nature. Doesn't take too long to explore. You can do that basically within a day trip. No problem to do that. We have old vintage cars from the before the war, from the French War, which was in 1954. So there are certain things you can do war-related if you want. You can also completely ignore it, but there are certain transport vehicles that are from the old days, which are actually kind of cool, especially if you have families. We do motorcycle tours as well. Everything has to do with transportation, Vietnam, old motorcycles, old Jeeps, and things like that. You can do all kinds of activities as well in Hanoi. The major thing that Vietnamese like to do throughout the day is to eat, and therefore food is an amazing thing in Vietnam. It's either a street food where you sit on this little stool and eat soup from the vendors, which is very, very nice, or you go to one of the fancy restaurants, but eating like the locals is one of the things we also like to highlight, do street food stuff. There's so much to see. There's banh mi, there's pho, there's all kinds of Vietnamese dishes which are amazing. You can find them everywhere on the streets. It's safe to eat. It's safe to walk around. The guide will bring you to the right places. And it's just great to wander around and snack here and snack there. You can do it basically the whole day if you want. Coming to Halong Bay, UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's about a 2-hour drive from Hanoi. Most people do a one-night trip, and that's fine. I like that. It's good to see. There's 3 different parts to the bay. If you have time for a second night, it will be a little bit nicer because the drive back is in the same road. So if you drive 2 hours, maybe rather than spending 24 hours on a boat, maybe you can make it 48 if you have time for that. But other than that, 24 hours on a boat is perfectly fine. It's a really great location. It's breathtakingly beautiful. It had the reputation of being a little bit dirty. That was all cleaned up. One of the few things that were good about COVID is the fact that some of these natural areas could recover from tourism and will be rebuilt in a more proper way, highlighting more of the environmental issues rather than just focusing on tourism. That's going to be good. So the cleanup was good. Here's a bit of a view from a bird's eye. There is also a company that does seaplane tours. We can also help with that. If you want to do a seaplane tour like you see on the left, you can do that. It's a pretty great view on the limestone hills off Halong Bay. Northern Adventure Sapa. You will take a train from Hanoi to Sapa, and you have the mountainous region, which is really nice to explore in spring and fall. It's a little wet and a little cold in winter. I'm not talking snow cold, I'm talking rain cold. And so it would be probably a nicer time to do it spring, summer, or fall. Again, you need a couple of nights extra. If you have those, great. Otherwise, we focus on the rest of Vietnam, which is also spectacular. Sapa has a number of different hill tribes, and these are not hill tribes that are hill tribes for tourism. They're regular hill tribes who live their lives pretty basic still, and enjoy seeing some foreigners sometimes. We not encroach on their lifestyle, but we're going to see them a little bit. We don't go into their places, their house. That's not what we do. But if you want to see some of them in the fields, that's perfectly fine. Moving on to central Vietnam. As I said, Hoi An, absolutely fabulous, beautiful. Walk around, just see the old town. It used to be a port, and it still looks like 300, 400, 500 years ago. It's really, really nice. The advantage of Hoi An is also that it's very close to a beautiful beach. So you can combine beach stay together with cultural visits. Lots of shopping too. Bring an extra suitcase if you can, because there's lots of good stuff to buy as well. Hue, the old capital, is still beautiful. There was in 1968, during the war, there was some bomb raids from the North Vietnamese against the Americans, Americans against North Vietnamese. Some of the old palace and imperial city was destroyed. It's being rebuilt over the last 20 years, slowly, coming back to its original beauty soon, but some parts are still in ruins, but they will be replaced. But the Hue is a really good place to see the old 1,000-year-old history of Vietnam. Beaches, an essential part of the central Vietnam, beautiful beaches between Da Nang and Hoi An, probably about 40 kilometers of beach, beautiful. Best time to go, as I said, sometime between, I would say, April and August. And nightlife in Da Nang. Da Nang has become one of the most sophisticated cities in Vietnam. Used to be a little sleepy port town. Now it's much bigger. Lots to do, lots to see, lots of restaurants. So really a good place if you just want to go out for an evening for a nice dinner. There are a couple of ancient temples in My Son. Another day trip from Hoi An can be done, beautifully done. Not too many people do it because of time limitations, but it's a great place to see a little bit more of just the tourist track of Vietnam. Hoi An, as I said, absolutely fabulous. Lanterns hanging over, old places, cafes, restaurants, shops. It's just a beautiful place. You can do a little bit of a river cruise as well. So it's a good place to explore. We have a couple of electric scooters that you can also use. It is safe, it is environmental friendly, and you can either choose to drive yourself, ride yourself, which I did, even though I don't drive motorcycles, or you can have somebody drive you. Both is perfectly fine. A little bit of boat trips as well for Hoi An as well. There's a new Buddha that was installed in one of the hills around Da Nang. It's a lady Buddha, becoming very popular. There was also a bridge built that is very much on Instagram these days. The Golden Hand Buddha bridge is also there. So there is a couple of things that are Instagrammable these days, and that's why we feature it. Clients enjoy that very much, and it's a good, I would say, 3/4 of a day trip if you want to include that into your sightseeing, if you have a little bit more time. Coming to the south, southern Vietnam, it's mostly about the city of Saigon, which is a very bustling, very intense city, a lot of traffic, good restaurants, good hotels, but a very, very busy, bustling city. It's about the Mekong Delta, where you still see the older Vietnam, small villages, small boats cruising through the canals. A really, really nice, picturesque area. A couple beach areas around Saigon, which are usually good to see in winter. So you see Mui Ne, you see Nha Trang, you see Phan Thiet. Those are beach areas that are very sophisticated these days. There's a couple islands as well, Con Dao and Phu Quoc. You can spend some time on the beach there as well. So with beaches, it really depends on when you go. Depending on what time of the year you go, we would recommend definitely different places to visit in terms of some nice sunny beach weather. And Cu Chi tunnels, one of the very few remaining pieces of recent war history. The Vietnamese attacked the American soldiers and the South Vietnamese army from these tunnels that they built, 200-kilometer tunnels. They were widened a little bit for tourists, but you can see a little bit how some of the Vietnamese lived for a couple of months while they were fighting the South Vietnamese and the Americans. It's a bit outside of Saigon, a half-day trip. If you want to add that on, a lot of people do that. Not a bad place to do. Sand dunes of Mui Ne. Mui Ne is a beach destination where you find also some amazing sand dunes, beautiful, very picturesque, and it's part of a beach stay. If you're staying in one of the beaches in Mui Ne or in Phan Thiet, you can visit those sand dunes as well. You can spend a lot of time with local artists, local shops, coffee makers, a lot of flower makers. There's a lot of sites that you can visit where handicraft is done. And we can definitely show you those. These are not shopping tours. These are people who are taking their arts business very, very seriously, and we can bring them there. We can show you what they do and how they do things. A day in the Mekong Delta has everything to do with a boat trip. Flower market, the largest Southeast Asian floating market is in Can Tho in Vietnam. So you can see flowers, you can see fruits. People are still buying and selling their produce on boats, and that's a nice thing to do. You go in the morning and you see the floating markets, and it's a really exciting place. Some do pancakes, some do rice candy right on the boat. It's pretty exciting to see that as well. Saigon became, over the last 25, 30 years, a really bustling metropole. It's not the capital of Vietnam, but it's sort of the largest city. It's the most industrial city. It's also the most exciting city in terms of restaurant, food, and beverages. Really, really nice, great hotels, a very good place to visit. A little bit of outskirts in terms of Mekong Delta, but also spend some time in Saigon to see a little bit of this bustling metropole in Southeast Asia. That's basically it. I'm glad that you are joining us today. Every single question that there is, and will probably be, your advisors can help you from Exotic, and we'll be very happy to welcome you in Vietnam. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Paul. Just amazing photos there and information. So it really looks like a great destination, somewhere I know I certainly want to visit here in the near future. So thanks for sharing that. The food, those Jeep and motorcycle tours are obviously something that would be a great way to experience and tour the country as well. So if you want more information on Vietnam, make sure you do visit our Exotic Tours website. You can take a look at our full programs and and product that we have available there. Follow us on Instagram. Of course, we have our Facebook page as well as our new YouTube channel. So if you want to take a listen to this presentation again, or have your friends or colleagues take a listen, please make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, all of our presentations over the last 3 weeks are on and will be posted on that channel as well if you want to go back and watch them. So with that, Paul, I think we have wrapped it up here. Very thorough presentation, so we do appreciate it. I hope everyone enjoyed the presentation. Again, you can go back and watch it on our YouTube channel. Give us a call at Exotic Journeys, and again, visit your local travel agency if you would like more information. So again, hoping you join us tomorrow for our grand finale. And with that, I thank you, Paul. I thank you, Christine and Holly, and we'll see you again next time.
Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thanks,
Paul.
everybody. Bye-bye. Bye.